Sound check.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Members will wait another minute or two until everybody's been let in. Thank you for your patience. Members, we're waiting for a quorum, so I thank you for your patience and understanding. See, can we have gallery view?
So we don't have a quorum.
Members, we're still checking on a quorum. So thank you again for your patience.
Let's have a different quorum.
Quorum? Okay, go ahead. Let's see, thank you. Members, we do have a quorum, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you again for your patience. Welcome. Thank you all
Recording
for
in
attending.
progress.
Okay, we got that. I'm Mary Alice Evans, the Director of the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, and will chair this meeting, which is the Build Beyond Barriers meeting. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, and it is 2:39. Before we begin, I'd like to go over our public meeting protocols. We're holding this meeting virtually on Zoom as a teleconference call, and have opened the Hawaii Finance and Development Corporation boardroom located at 677 Queen Street, room 300, to the public to view and participate in the meeting today. For those of you who may be here to testify, all testimony will be limited to 3 minutes, subject to my discretion. Testimony must be related to the agenda item, and before you begin, we will ask you to identify yourself by stating your name and organization if you're representing one. For 3 minutes, I'll call time, and you will have 15 seconds to conclude your testimony. Please keep in mind, this is an opportunity to share your thoughts with us. If you ask questions during your testimony, neither the board nor the staff will provide a response. And for those here virtually, please keep your camera off and microphone muted until you're called on. And please do not chat for comments because it presents an accessibility and sunshine issue. For anyone who wishes to submit written testimony, instructions for doing so is on the agenda. No written testimony was submitted for this meeting. Board members, as much as possible, please keep your camera on, and if you have to leave before the meeting is adjourned, please inform us so we can maintain our records accurately. I will now take roll to establish a quorum. Board members, when I call your name, your camera on, please confirm your state whether anyone is present. We'll start with the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, present and not alone. For DBED, is there a representative for DBED? Excused. For Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation.
Present.
Thank you. For the Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Good afternoon. This is Don Chang. I'm present and I'm alone in my office. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. For the State Historic Preservation Division. Excused. For the Commission on Water Resource Management. Excused. For the Land Use Commission. Excused. And for the Department of Health. Excused. For the Department of Transportation. Excused. And for the Hawaii Public Housing Authority.
Hakim Wansafi here in the public room.
And for the Department of Budget and Finance.
Louis Oliveri here, present and alone.
Thank you, Louis. And for the Hawaii Burial Council, Hawaii.
Coming out on Mills here, and I am alone.
Thank you. For the Hawaii Burial Council, Kauai and Ni'ihau. Excused. For the Hawaii Island Burial Council, Maui and Lanai. Excused. And for the Island Burial Council, Molokai. Excused.
No, I'm
No.
here.
Here. Oh, thank you very much. My apologies.
Okay, so Kelmailani Hanapi Hirata as the Molokai Island Burial Council Chair. I am in my office and alone.
Thank you. For the right here. The Island Burial Council for Oahu. Yes.
Oh, I guess I reported in the wrong portion. I'm the chair of the Oahu Island Burial Council.
Thank you, Kamana. I appreciate that. You can represent both, but only one vote. So Chair of the Legislative Subject Matter Committees relating to housing.
Hello, this is Representative Micah Ayu.
Thank you, Mike, Representative. And for the Chair of the Subject Matter Committee for the Senate.
Yes, I'm Stanley Chang and I'm here alone.
Thank you, Stanley. For the Mayor of the County of Hawaii.
Good afternoon, Susan Coons, Office of Housing and Community Development. I'm representing Mitch Roth, Mayor of Hawaii County, and I'm here in my office alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. For the Mayor of the County of Kauai.
This is Adam Reverse, the Housing Director for the County of Kauai, representing the Mayor's office. I'm in my office alone.
Thank you, Adam. Mayor, County of Maui. Excused. And for the Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu.
So.
Excuse me, did we miss somebody for the County of Maui?
Sorry,
Hi,
yes, Priya. Oh, go for it, Lori.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Lori Tsuhako, Director of the Department of Housing and Human Concerns on behalf of Mayor Bisson. I'm sitting in our Emergency Operations Center, but I'm privately on this call.
Thank you, Lori. Susan has already. The County Planning Department for the island of Hawaii.
Aloha Hansen.
County of Hawaii.
You said Hawaii, right? Oh,
I did.
Zendo Curran here, Planning Director. I am in my office all alone as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Zendo. Department for Zendo, do you also have Steve Paz with you or on the line?
I have Malia Kekai, Deputy Director for DPW present. Malia, do you want to let them know whether you're
Yeah, present and alone.
Thank you. So, Adam, we've already heard from you. Thank you. So for Kauai, is there a representative for the County Planning Department? Excuse. And
Madam Chair, I'd
yes,
just like to point out that we have Keith Okamoto, our chief engineer for the water department on here from Hawaii County.
great. Thank you, Sando. Welcome, Keith. And is Troy Tanagawa for Kauai on the line? Excused. Is Kathleen Aoki for the Planning Department on Maui or representative? Sorry, you've already answered the roll call. And is Jordan Lena? Yes. And then for Oahu, for the planning PPP. Yeah, for DPP, Kevin O'Shea, are you on the line? And then for the Hawaii Department of Water Supply, Joe Tate, are you here?
I'm here and I'm alone.
Thank you, Joe. And then for the Valley County Department of Water Supply and stuff will be. Excused. And then for the Oahu Board of Water Supply, Lau or representative. Excused. For the Kauai Island Utility Cooperative, David Bissell, representative. Excused. And for Hawaii Electric Company, is somebody representing Hawaii Electric? Excused. For Honua Consulting, is Dr. Watson on the line?
I'm here. I'm in a hotel room, but people are in and out. We're getting ready, and I'll only be able to stay on until about 3. I have to get to the conference, but I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then the Executive Director of Housing Peace Future, Sterling Higa.
Present, alone, God willing, I'll be at a desk soon.
Thank you, Sterling. And then the hero, I think I saw Carl.
Carl, I'm in my office by myself.
Thank you, Carl. David Arakawa, Executive Director of the Land Use Research
Present.
Corporation.
Present in
Foundation.
my office by myself. Thank you.
Sierra Club. Oh, and the Sierra Club.
Present here, Wayne, in my house by myself.
Thank you, Wayne. I'm sorry, I may have missed you. No, you're right about the. Okay. All right, that concludes the roll call. Thank you all for your patience as we work through that. We'll try to get it down to a more streamlined version. Not leaving anybody out though. So the Office of the Governor's Housing Committee recently launched its website, holly.hawaii.gov, and all of the Bill Beyond Barriers meeting updates, materials, and recordings will be posted on this website. Again, the website is holly.hawaii.gov. So agenda item number 3 is approval of the minutes of August 29th, 2023. Board members, may I have a motion to approve the Bill Beyond Barriers draft meeting summary of August 29th, 2023.
Can we have this?
See a
Can
motion?
we have a discussion on this, on the minute?
Certainly. Yes, of course. As soon as we have a motion on the table, we'll call for comments and questions.
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, is there a second?
David Arakawa.
Thank you both. Okay, now, member Hirata from Molokai, go ahead.
Well, I don't agree with the meeting minutes. So I think backing up just a little bit because first of all, the agenda, it doesn't itemize out or explain who the new lead housing officer. If you guys want to share, is there a WHOI? There's a group, I was told. That should have been on the agenda. Anyway, the approval of these meeting minutes. So did we, I don't believe that we as one group decided on the structure of how the meeting minutes are going to be drafted, and then so it's a summary format, I see, for instance. But and then you just said thank you for that you guys have a new website, that the recordings will be up on there for people to review. So is there, who made the agreement on how meeting minutes are going to be drafted? For instance, is the meeting minutes going to be written in its entirety, word for word, or is it just summarized? I don't think we as one group can decide on that. And if we don't decide, then who makes the decision? I just like clarification on
Okay,
that.
thank you, member. I appreciate the question. I believe we're following the sunshine law, which does allow for a meeting summary, but I'll just check with our deputy AG. Is that your understanding?
That is correct. It's a summary, and I believe there's also references to the timestamp for the meeting from the audio recording. And so that is in compliance with the sunshine law requirement.
Okay, so member, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that kind of partially answers my question. I wasn't questioning the sunshine law and about the way you give out meeting minutes. I was questioning the structure. Did we as one group, the Building Beyond Barriers working group, say, did we have a voice at any point in time to say, we're going to summarize the meeting minutes, or we're going to write them down in their entirety, word for word, of exactly what was said? That is what I was questioning, but it seems that you folks have made the decision on that. But I get so moving on, I get couple problems with this meeting minutes, and I wouldn't have approved it. So on what is this? Number 5, oral testimonies. You have 2 sections where there's testifiers' names that are unknown. I think going forward, if we're gonna list something like this, I would like to see testifiers' names and not have something that says the testifier is unknown. Usually there's a process or a procedure of signing up to testify, just like how we as the board, Building Beyond Barriers working group, has to let Tammy know if we're gonna be in one meeting or not, so we make sure we have quorum. I would like to see one procedure in place that when people want to testify, that we actually have their names down, and not just say unknown. And then number 6, under the member discussion, what did they discuss? What was the topic of discussion? All it says is Wayne Tanaka and Sterling Higa had a discussion as members. Maybe if you guys can just put down the topic of the discussion, that would be good. If you guys are just summarizing. So that's kind of my things, and I would like to, I don't mind approving this or raising my hand to say that I like the meeting minutes. But since you guys made one motion to approve the meeting minutes already, I would like to say I agree to approving it, but with the changes and the changes in place. So find out who is the testifiers, the 2 testifiers that are on. We should never be personally attacking anybody. So I allow her for even just taking up that stand and wanting to do and be in the role that she was in. But now that she's not here, who is now the lead housing officer? And I was told there's a group, or when who, would you guys like to identify yourselves for public people who are on here who don't know? That would be fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you, member. There is no lead housing officer at this time. And there is a team, a housing team, and it includes myself, Dean Minakami, and Akeem Unsah. Unsafi. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, member. So members, are there any other comments, suggestions, changes, corrections to the minutes of August 29th? See anybody? Any hands raised? Okay. So, are there any? Oh, wait, go ahead, Wayne Tanaka.
Sorry, just so I'm looking at the proclamation, and maybe Kilmailani's question is about the chair of the BBB, which is it shall be one of the state housing officials designated in section 1. So I guess is there a chair who I would run meetings? Is that yourself?
Wayne, yes, I'm chairing this meeting, and then we're going to be rotating the chair. So it will, there will be meetings where it's going to be Dean Minakami, and meetings where it'll be Hakeem Unsafi.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. Anybody else's hand
Madam
is
Chair,
raised? Sendo.
more so just a point of order that it might be helpful at some point to maybe just go over some brief parliamentary procedure. So there's understanding of how some of this works, because sometimes it's uncomfortable to make a motion, but sometimes the motion is generally needed just to get into that discussion. So that might be helpful since this is quite a broad group. Maybe not at this one, but at a future meeting, some very brief parliamentary.
Thank you, I agree. And so members will do that at our next meeting, and I appreciate the suggestion. So members, are there any objections to the motion to accept?
That's his hand raised.
Oh, Wayne.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I guess since Zendo did bring it up, it would be nice if the minutes reflected. I did have some concerns about some foundational groundwork that we should probably figure out as we go forward. That I raised some points at the end of the meeting last time, so if the minutes could include those, I think that would be helpful. Just for the record, I think Zendo makes a good point that we do have, I think, a need for substantive and procedural things to be established to make sure we can be as consistent and smooth operating as possible. Thank you.
Or we consider a motion then to defer the minutes and make any of those adjustments, Chair?
We have a motion on the table with a second. So we can defer, but I'd like to see if we can go ahead and get the minutes approved. So are there any objections to the minutes as circulated? See any?
I'm sorry, you're gonna make a motion to approve it. Are you approving it with the changes I requested, or no? You're gonna approve it as is?
The motion on the table was to approve as is, member, and
then I raise my hand to say I don't agree with that. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go ahead. Thank you. We're going to do a roll call vote then, and member, you can vote nay or aye with objection with reservations. It's your choice. So we'll go ahead and we'll call the roll. I'm going to call you by name rather than by wait. Yeah, I'll try. I think that might be a little faster. But if for any reason I miss you, I want you to either raise your hand or wave wildly. Okay. Dean Minakami? Aye. Okay. Don Chang? Let's see. Scott Derrickson?
Aye.
Who's here for Department of Health? Sorry. Nobody. Okay. And DOT. Hakeem? Aye. Louis Salaveria? Aye. Reverend Mills,
I, with reservations to incorporate Chair Hirata's comments.
okay, thank you. And Member Hirata,
Hi, so the way,
you had reservations, is that correct?
yes, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I already voiced my concern, so no, I do not approve this meeting. The written meeting minutes do not approve.
Okay,
Or
so that's a
meeting.
nay. Thank you,
Thank you.
member. Okay, and then for the State House, it's, Member IU.
Aye.
So for the State Senate, Member Chang.
Aye.
For the County of Hawaii Housing Agency, Susan Coons.
Aye.
For the County of Hawaii Planning Department.
Aye.
Cindy. For the Steve Paws.
Hi, this is Malia Kekai representing BPW for Stephen Pazzi and the deputy director, he's the director. Is it possible for me to abstain since I wasn't present at the last meeting?
It absolutely is. Go ahead, Member Kekai.
Yeah,
Adam Reversi.
Aye.
Lori Suhaku.
Aye.
It's here. I didn't write it down.
I'll just continue with the list.
Come around. Information's here.
Keith Okamoto?
Keith Okamoto.
Yeah, this is Keith. Aye.
Joe Tate?
Joe Tate.
Aye.
Lisa Watson left. Sterling Higa?
Sterling Higa.
Aye.
Carl Bonham.
Aye.
Wayne Tanaka.
Reservations.
David Arakawa.
I with reservations.
Member's already voted. Sorry. I thought there was someone who wasn't listed. Okay. All right, members, thank you. Is there anyone who hasn't voted that I may have missed? Okay, I don't see anybody's hands raised. So I believe the motion passes with a majority vote, and the minutes for this meeting will reflect how the votes were cast. So I want to thank you for your patience with that. Now we're going to move to the next order of business. And I'm going to open the floor to testimony on agenda item number 4A. No, I think we'll have a brief summary of what this agenda item is. So Hawaii County Planning Department and the Department of Public Works request suspensions in chapters 76, 89, and 89C, the Hawaii revised statutes to hire a total of 19 full-time positions, 9 FTE for Hawaii County Planning Department and 10 FTE for the Department of Public Works. So members, the County of Hawaii submitted an application to the Build Beyond Barriers to request suspensions to these chapters 76, 89, and 89C Hawaii revised statutes to hire a total of 19 full-time positions. The planning department currently has 9 full-time vacancies and the Department of Public Works has 10 full-time vacancies. The application submitted by the County of Hawaii to request the suspensions for recruitment purposes was shared with the Build Beyond Barriers members and posted to the governor's housing website at holly.hawaii.gov on Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. So I'd like to open the floor to our County of Hawaii partners to comment on their request. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'll take the lead on that. Zendo Kern, Planning Director. Thank you to the group for the opportunity to make this request. Yeah, we've been operating at around 25 to 30% understaffed for about the last 3 years. And it's been very challenging to maintain the level of services and operations that we would like to. With the planning department, we cover various things from, discretionary permits to ministerial type permits, many related to housing and affordability. So the positions we put on here are members of the department that are directly engaged in activities that either are working on a building permit, a rezoning application, a state land use boundary amendment application, things of that nature, or support staff for the commission and our team members. And we believe that this opportunity to take advantage of the emergency proclamation would be helpful in filling these positions and giving us the ability to move forward and process housing applications faster. We do prioritize affordable housing projects as well as like alternative energy and anything climate related and affordability and government related projects. I think it's very important to be able to do that. And with the turnover that we face, it's a challenge. We'll hire new folks. We'll lose somebody to a different position, and the time it takes to actually do the full recruitment is challenging. And so we would really request the support from the Build Beyond Barriers working group to give us the opportunity to make some of these hiring opportunities and see how it works. And happy to answer any questions, and I'll turn it over to Malia to add on.
Member Kekai.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Basically, it's pretty much the same here for DPW. All of these positions are directly connected to permitting. At some point, right? It's either plan review or it's inspections. So it's really hard historically to fill these positions. We're hoping maybe this will help us, get that edge to try and get people in the door, and be able to, our goal here is we don't want to have expedited permitting. We want to just have a dependable permitting system that all permits will go through quickly, regardless if it's affordable or not. But yeah, with this goal, and Zendo is correct, we do still prioritize affordable housing. We prioritize, big county projects or state projects, those kind of, but this, we're just hoping will help us to kind of get over that hump and maybe fill these extra positions that we've had a hard time with. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Kekai. Member Kern, are there any other members from the County of Hawaii that would like to speak to the motion? There isn't a motion yet.
That's a good question.
To the request. Anybody else? Keith Okamoto? One. Okay. We'll go ahead, and I'd like to entertain a motion on this item. If somebody would like to make a motion to accept this
So
item.
move. Dave Arco.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Keith Okamoto.
Thank you, Keith. Okay. So now I'll
This will allow opening of the discussion, right? The motion and the second allows opening of discussion. Anybody can discuss. That's what Zendo was talking about, the procedure, right? Thank
correct.
you.
That's
The
correct.
necessary procedure to open discussion.
That's correct. So now I'd like to open the floor to hearing testimony on this agenda item, and we'll start by, so if you please state for the record, your name and organization, if you represent an organization. I see Member Hirata with her hand raised. Go ahead, member.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you opening this up for us as the working
Yes.
group discussion, or you open this up for public testimony?
I guess public testimony first, and then we'll have the members' comments and questions. But I don't see,
Okay, then I will wait till after your testimony since that's how you did it.
I just didn't see any members of the public with their hands raised yet. Do we have any members of the public wishing to testify on this matter? Would you like to testify?
Would you like to? Stay there.
Sure, have a seat here.
Please.
Yes, welcome.
Just wanted to say I thought it might not be a good idea to do that because then if construction, something happens to the standard of the construction, it might not, I mean, just saying that, like in the Maui or even just we have hurricanes come through. If we lower our standard of construction or we just hire anybody to pass anything, it later. There'll be consequences for it.
Thank you. Can we have your name for the record?
Yes, Burnell.
Represent an organization?
No.
Nope, you're an individual. Okay, I appreciate your.
So much.
Thank
Thank you so much.
So, thanks for coming. We appreciate that. Are there any other members of the public that have comments? Seeing none, I'll move back to member Hirata. Would like to have comments on this matter, this motion.
Hi, yeah, I would like to, aloha, this is Kiamaini Hanapi Hirata. So I wanted to have and I have some questions for clarity. And I mahalo Malia and Zendo for his short and brief presentation. So my first question is, okay, so we're asking to suspend chapter 76, 89 and 80. That's what is this decision, is that the Hawaii County Planning Department and Department of Public Works request the suspension to hire a total of 19 full-time positions in Hawaii County. In my other role, I sit on the Molokai Planning Commission. So I'm gonna ask you guys specific questions. What is it about chapter 76, 89, and 89C that you guys absolutely, that we suspending all this? My main concern is with chapter 76 and all the things listed. You guys really like suspend all of that that's in there? Do you think that that is beneficial to what you guys asking, that that's gonna solve your guys' problem in the hiring process? Because it is due to hiring. So
Member, I might be able to shed some light on your question. The second emergency proclamation for affordable housing states that Chapter 76 Civil Service Law, to the extent necessary to allow for qualified personnel or contractors to be hired that would be directly involved in the construction, development, or redevelopment of housing, filling of public housing vacancies, the processing of housing vouchers, or processing of development-related permits, licenses, or approvals pursuant to the attached emergency rules. So it's only to the extent necessary. And it does provide for qualified personnel or contractors. Does that clarify what is actually being suspended for you?
okay, then you guys gotta change your motion. You have to use the language that you just said. So you have to either change the motion in its entirety. So go back to the motion and change it to what you just explained using that language, because the way that this is written right now and the way the motion went down is two different things. So what you just say as the chair facilitating this meeting, mahalo for explaining that. and for, going over that. But what you just said and what the motion was is two separate things. So your language needs to be changed in the motion. But that's something you guys can do after. Like move on with the rest of my questions. So there's been little to, so on number 2, there said in the, let's see, what is this? The answer to question number 2, in providing the justification on why the recruitment exemption is needed, it says that there has been little response to recruitment notices for open positions within each department. Then when I go back, I look at the graphs and the charts that you guys have. Some have been open since 2018. This is concerning. This is concerning on multiple levels, but that's a different issue, that all of these positions are open and have been open for many years. So my question for Malia and Zendo is, what is it that is the problem with the recruitment process in itself right now? Like, you guys don't really detail out exactly, is there people lying? Or is there qualified people that are applying? They're just, the process to get hired is just, the waiting time is too long, or the vetting process is too long. What is the real issue in the recruitment process?
Yes, all the above. It's a combination of, finding qualified folks to actually apply for the applications. We have a separate department that basically processes those. It can take months before we can even actually make an offer to somebody, and many qualified folks will not wait that long, and they'll find other job positions by the time we get back to them. So it's a very long and arduous process to actually go from somebody interested through the HR, getting qualified, then through the panel process that we do, going through all of that, and then getting to us. It's hard, it's long. And in certain cases, we're not finding qualified folks. In certain cases, nobody even puts in an application. That's why I'd say in Hawaii County, we've had more open continuous recruitments than in the last couple of years than we've had probably in the last couple decades. I think the COVID situation exacerbated that. At one point in time, for example, with our clerks, we would have a list of maybe 20, 30 people on the list of qualified clerks. And for quite a long while, we didn't even have anybody on that list. We couldn't even hire a clerk. I'd say things are improving a little bit now, but we thought that this would be a good opportunity to really try to get some of these positions filled so we can continue to process the permit. So it's a combination of all those factors that you had mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted to add to Zendo's thing is like, also there's like a pre-screening process that we're not in control of, right? Like it goes through our HR, and sometimes good people don't get through because they didn't word something correctly, right? Like we miss out, and I've heard it a bunch of times, like, I have a master's degree and I couldn't even get through your pre-qualification. And it's not like there's no part of us that's trying to, award these to unqualified people. My understanding is they still have to meet all the minimum requirements. They still have to be able to do the job. We're not sliding on any standards. It's really just, can I find qualified candidates and get them in the door quickly before, like Sendo said, somebody else poaches them? Because especially these higher positions, these professional positions, I mean, the real reason they've been empty is because we can't really compete with pay, but maybe this is one of those where we can start the conversation early and then start the, like, hey, maybe we can, give you another accommodation or something like that, that will make them want to come into the county. And basically kind of beat people to the punch where like, oh, private just pulls them out and we're just like, we couldn't, they can't wait 90 days or 60 days or even 30 days sometimes to fill that position. So we're hoping that this helps. I don't think it's is going to be the answer to all of our questions, but hopefully it'll help us a little bit.
Thank you, member. I'm going to call on Louis Salaveria first, followed by Keith, followed by Wayne.
Oh, I wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but you're getting an answer to your question. Can we get those answers and then you go on to your next question?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Member Salaveria.
Thank you, Mary Alice. This is Louis, and maybe this question is for the Attorney General Representative. The emergency proclamation already suspends those particular chapters. So what are we actually approving for, as the BBB
So
group?
the suspensions are not automatic, and so what it is in order for certain entities to take advantage of those suspensions, their applications have to be approved by the BBB working group in order for those suspensions to apply. And so the counties are one of those entities that it is not able to automatically take advantage of that suspension. So they've put in their application to take advantage of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Keith, go ahead, you're next.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to, share as being part of the County of Hawaii. I want to reemphasize that the situation that both Sendo and Malia are talking about is faced by other departments within the county too. We do have our own struggles at the Department of Water Supply, similar to planning and public works in hiring qualified people. Again, we're not sliding or lessening any of the requirements of the positions or the tasks that they do. Unfortunately, at the Department of Water Supply, we're not quite there yet in identifying specific personnel that we could maybe take advantage of this proclamation to assist us. But I would like to share my support for Zendo and Malia in their efforts to hire qualified staff so that good work can continue to be done on the County of Hawaii.
Thank you, Member. Member Tanaka, go ahead.
It's a couple quick notes on what's been said. I don't know how helpful this will be if you're not getting applicants. I mean, it sounds like there's maybe other issues like pay issues and competitive, which makes you wonder like where are you going to recruit from and how are you going to recruit? I think to kill Mailani's point, I'd be a lot more comfortable, even though this isn't my wheelhouse, but just to see more specific provisions of what's being suspended under 76 and what is not, or even under the process. I appreciate that we're not wanting to let standards slide, but is that going to be reflected in the decision? And I have a couple more questions, but that's for later. I think, I guess more to Lewis's point, where in the proclamation does it outline our role in approving these kinds of suspensions when there isn't a project that's been articulated?
Thanks, Member Tanaka. Spot there.
Sorry, while you guys are looking at that, I just wanted to point one thing out. The minimum qualifications and stuff, that's all laid out in the rules, like basically what we can do and what we can't do as to, this application. That's where I was looking to. So basically the fact that we cannot just give it to somebody who doesn't qualify for the position is laid out in the governor's rules.
And just to add to that, there's actually, I'll allow for a little bit more direct communication with potential applicants. Right now, we have an entire department in between an applicant and them getting to us. And in some cases, as Malia demonstrated before, we'll see somebody months later, even a year later, and they're like, oh, I put my application in, totally qualified, but for some reason they didn't make it. And it's not to throw another department under the bus, but there's just there's a gap in between there that really sometimes doesn't create that level of continuity that we'd like to see. That's just one
Thank you, Member.
I guess we're waiting for sorry, did someone else want to? Okay. I mean, I'm curious as to what the other agency, I mean, they're not here, right? They're like, what they feel like, is the reason why these hangups happen. I mean, they're not here, so we don't be able to hear from them, but that's just a question I have.
Member Olansapi I think has a comment to your point, Member Tanaka.
Yeah, and excuse me, excuse my voice. So the reason I'm going to be voting in full support for the county to go forward with this is for a lot of reasons. Number one, the people that apply to the counties and they apply to the state, they also apply to the private sector. These people, when they put in an application and it goes through the system, first of all, the system is already complicated. It takes a long time. And then they have to go into this pot waiting for another public servant and another department that's short-staffed to review that application, which it takes a long time. And then they'll package all of the members and send them to all the departments that look at, let's say, for a housing specialist as an example. And then all the departments start scheduling that interview and interviewing them. And then it goes to the second interview and the third interview. And then it goes back to the departments like DHERD and others to do the checks as far as the references and all of that. Then by the time they tell you, okay, this person you can hire, you call them, say, already accepted a job at another place. This process that I have mentioned, all I said in 3 minutes, sometimes takes 3 to 6 months. So this suspension is to address the necessary need for housing to move forward. And that is the first line of defense, which is hiring staffing. Everyone is short staffed. If you don't have the staff, then you have the bottleneck. Let it be the council barrier, let it be at DPP, let it be at other areas. To me, I think this is something that should be automatic, like it is for some agencies. It should be automatic in the counties for the hiring purposes to hire qualified staff. No one at the county or the state is going to go through this process so they can hire somebody that's not qualified so they can get rid of them. We look at the same process. Real life example, we had positions, as my sister, it's been about a year that hasn't been filled. Hasn't been filled for those reasons. On November 4th, we held our first open house, if you want to call it that, for people. What we did, we had our staff that we have, and we have over 90 positions that are vacant. We had our staff with our laptop sitting with the people that are not even too familiar. Let's say a maintenance person that's going to fix a vacant unit. Our staff were sitting doing the application for that. But instead of going home and wait another 3 months to call them, we took them directly to the room where we had other staff waiting to interview these folks. We interviewed 57 people in 4 hours. We moved 36 into the second interview. And by the end of that 4 hours, we called 22 that we intend to make an offer for employment, pending verification of references and all of that. So this application here, not only it's crucial, but it is essential that we expedite the process. It's not reducing the requirement or the qualifications. It's basically just being able. Another point that when we did this, the people that came to apply with us, they were the people interested in public housing. So sometimes they say, well, I didn't know I'm applying for public housing. I thought I'm going to be with Department of Transportation, or I'm going to be with BNF, or I'm going to be with this. So the people that came to apply with us, they already wanted to be public housing. So anyone that got offered the position, they were able to accept it. So this is one of the reasons that I'm going to vote in full support. And I hope that if there is another version, that the counties can be exempted automatically so they are able to hire, so we are able to do the job that the public wants us to do. So we don't have to suspend any others and not having to do additional emergencies. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for your comment. Let's see, Wayne, your hand is still raised, but I wanted to go back to member Harada, who said she had.
Oh, well, I mean,
question.
I thought we were waiting for, so my actual question was, what I was trying to figure out where in the proclamations that outline a road to approve suspensions that aren't connected to particular projects.
Well, but so the staffing of these agencies, including the counties, allows projects to proceed. And so this is basically in support of all projects, all affordable housing projects that may come through Hawaii County in this instance, or any of the other counties, or, you know, for instance, the HPHA, that they were able to take advantage of it. It allows, it's a supportive role to allow these affordable projects to move through. And so it is still in support of projects.
Was there a specific language? And also, I mean, so HPHA, like their projects are, you know, de facto going to be affordable, whereas these departments also process non-affordable projects. So is there, you know, maybe we make a motion to where these positions will focus only on those projects that are contemplated under the resolution, the proclamation, to make sure that we're in compliance with its provisions, unless there's specific language that you can point to in the proclamation that talks about, you know, the BBB doing this kind of thing just generically for. I want to see language. I was looking for it. I can't find it.
Okay,
So Wayne, you would want
Wait,
it
wait,
so
wait,
that the
David,
people that
hold
are
on,
hired
hold
cannot
on.
work on any other.
No, I'm talking about the language of the proclamation, which limits our legal authority, right? We have to make decisions consistent with what's the law. And so I'm trying to make sure that we're in compliance with the law, which is what the proclamation is.
Okay, Member Tanaka, we have a motion on the table and it's been made and seconded. So if we're finished with discussion, you may make a motion to amend the motion on the table. And if you get a second, then we'll vote on the amendment, and then we'll go to the main motion, which either will be amended or as originally stated. So do you want to make a motion?
Sure. I mean, if there's no other, I mean, unless there's another provision in here that I'm not seeing, I think we have to modify the motion to approve the suspension of these statutes.
Member, if you're going to discuss a amendment, I want you to make the amendment and we'll see if there's a second. And then if there's a second, then we can have discussion.
I wanted to address Wayne's issue. I have my hand raised. Yeah.
Wait, member, wait a minute.
Sure. Okay, I'll motion to amend the motion to require that new positions are focused on projects that are with affordable housing projects, I guess. Try to be consistent with the language of the proclamation.
We have an amendment. It's been made. Is there a second to the amendment? And there's no second, the motion dies and we go back to the main motion. So Member Arakawa, did you have a comment on the main motion?
Yes, on the main motion, in the emergency proclamation, where it talks about chapter 76, 89, and 89C, it says, to the extent necessary to allow for qualified personnel or contractors to be hired that would directly be involved in the blankety blank of housing, right? So, so in all of these, each of those sections of the emergency proclamation, it says to the extent necessary to allow for the qualified personnel or contractors to be hired that would be directly involved in blankety blank housing, right? You know, so I think the language is in there. I'd be willing to amend my motion to say, subject to the emergency proclamation, and to the extent necessary to hire qualified personnel or contractors involved in housing. You know, I'd be willing to do that, but
I think Member Arakawa, if I recall, you're the seconder, not the maker of the motion.
No, point of order, Chair. I'm the seconder. I think Mr. Arakawa was the main.
The maker?
Yep.
Okay. So Member Arakawa, are you
Let's ask the AG.
proposing an amendment, a friendly amendment to your motion.
Yeah, let's ask.
I'm gonna word it again. We
Um,
need to hear the exact language of your friendly amendment.
Okay. First, okay, subject to the emergency, the existing, the subject to the applicable emergency proclamation, right? And to the extent necessary to allow for qualified personnel or contractors to be hired that would be directly involved in housing, comma, right? We would approve Hawaii County Planning Departments, et cetera, and what's on the agenda, right? Hawaii County Planning Department and Department of Public Works requests for suspension to chapter. So everything that's in the agenda after that. It's just adding a first sentence.
Okay,
Subject to the applicable emergency proclamation and to the extent necessary to allow for qualified personnel or contractors to be hired that will be directly involved in housing matters.
thank you.
Comma, approve Hawaii County's whatever, right?
Keith, as the,
Whatever.
Keith, as the seconder, do you accept that friendly amendment?
Sure, for purposes of discussion, but does that preclude Ms. Hirata from extending her discussion on the original motion? I mean, essentially, this is a similar motion, just adding language clarifying that it's per the emergency proclamation, is my understanding. It's pretty much the same motion, just adding a preclude to that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, then I will second that.
Let's see, we have comments on the amendment. I see that Member Hirata has her hand raised. Go ahead, member.
Oh, hi. Mahalo for changing that. I want to state for the record that this is important. Like the director, Zendo, really, chapter 76 gives him the authority as the director to be creative on what he needs to do to get people in to fill these positions. So I continue on with my questions. I only need a couple more and then
Member, let's vote on the amendment first, and then you can continue with, we'll have discussion on the main motion as amended. And we'll give you full latitude to have all of your questions on the record as soon as we've determined if the members are in favor of the amendment to the main motion, which changes the motion to be read as member Arakawa stated. Members, are there any further discussion on the amendment to the main motion? I don't see any hands raised. Members, are there any, go ahead, member Tanaka.
So I'm looking at the language. So it says the BBB will have three main functions. One is to inventory, track, coordinate progress of projects that certified by an application to the state under 201H. Doesn't seem applicable. Review and certify affordable housing projects under this proclamation, and review and track all other housing projects to assess the workload of housing regulatory agencies. So I'm just wondering which one of these functions
member
are we acting?
I don't think your comment is on the amendment. I think it's going to be on the
okay, I'll rephrase. I'm not sure if the amendment reflects our function, like falls within one of these three functions.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask our deputy AG to comment on member Tanaka's concern.
Again, I would say that the action to allow the county to take advantage of the suspension under the proclamation, which is directed obviously at government agencies because they're the only ones who are subject to chapter 79, 89, and 89C, that it is as a supportive role to any affordable housing projects that may go through the BBB and is sort of a necessary action to support further work of the working group.
So the question was where in the motion, what in the motion tracks to the language of the proclamation, I guess, the outlines or functions.
Can you clarify your question?
I'm, can the Deputy Attorney General articulate what language under our functions in the proclamation the amended motion would fall under?
Okay.
For the BBB's function specifically.
See, member Arkel's hand raised.
So,
be willing to let him speak to his motion? Go ahead.
okay, thank you. Under paragraph C of the proclamation, the applicable proclamation that's in force says Build Beyond Barriers Working Group. The proclamation says the Build Beyond Barriers Working Group is established to facilitate the review and development of affordable housing projects through coordinators, et cetera, et cetera. So the purpose or the reason why it was established is to facilitate the review. The next paragraph says the BBB will have three main functions, but the purpose of it is to facilitate the review. Okay, and the Attorney General already talked about to facilitate the review, we need people to be hired. Otherwise, it's a catch-22. It cannot be reviewed. It'll take a year or two or 3 or 4 years to review because they don't have the staff to go through those applications, right? And the BBB, one of the three main functions, number 2, is review and certify affordable housing projects. We cannot review and certify affordable housing projects if the county staff has not prepared the necessary review recommendations, et cetera, right? Or applications, right? And we cannot do number 3, review and track all other housing projects. We cannot do that if the county doesn't have the staff to do it. So it just frustrates the whole purpose. Number 1, that we're established under paragraph C, the first sentence of C, to facilitate the review and development of affordable housing. If you try to block this, right? And secondly, it does fit squarely on even number 1, inventory, track, and coordinate the progress of projects. Who's going to prepare that report? County staff, right? If it's a county project. So 1, 2, and 3 are all can be done for county projects by county staff. And if they don't have the county staff to do it, then we effectively grind this whole process to a halt, where everything's going to take 3 to 5 years. And I don't think we're sitting on this board or this committee or task force to grind everything to a halt or to make everything take 3 to 5 years, right? So anyway, so that's my 2 cents. It's in paragraph C, why this working group was established to facilitate the review and development, and you need staff to facilitate the review and development. And all 3 of those items that are listed as the 3 main functions, we need county staff to do that.
Thank you, Member Arakawa. I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote on the amendment to the main motion. We've had quite a bit of discussion on this, and I think we need to have a vote. So if it is not unanimous, we will do a roll call vote for those who may have different thoughts. Okay. So are there objections to the amendment as stated by Member Arakawa, seconded by Member Okamoto, to the main motion? Okay, seeing none, then the amendment has been made. Now we have a new main motion as amended on the table. And I think, Member Tanaka, we should go to Member Hirata because she's had her hand raised and she has further questions on the motion. Go ahead, Member Hirata.
Okay. Mahalo for all of that great changes. So again, mahalo Zendo and Malia. I like continue on. So trying to stay in my lane. So I sitting on this Building Beyond Barriers working group as a chair for a burial council, which comes cultural. Like we're basically cultural practitioners in our own way and different stuff. So anyway, I like try to stay in my lane and finish out my questions.
Go ahead.
I had one question for Zendo. Is there one option for now? Have you guys ever explored the option to ask other counties for like some type of temporary assistance? I know that, okay, over here in Maui County, yeah, because I'm a planning commissioner, I know that we struggle in our own hiring process, but I wanted to know if you guys have ever looked at other options to ask other counties to assist you folks temporarily for now.
Thank you for the question. In my discussions and conversations with the other counties, they all appear to be in a similar situation as we are. And for that, I have not asked, and we have, I don't, not can't speak for Malia, but we haven't asked for that because we haven't even looked at it as being an option. We also have our own unique processes, and I don't think it would be as efficient or as effective as one might think, but haven't asked just because I believe we're all in a similar situation.
Okay, yeah, mahalo for that. Do you guys have any backlogs in your folks' office on projects that are coming across your folks' desk due to all of these numerous positions not being filled?
I will speak for the planning department. Yes, we deal with various backlogs and having to go. It's beyond just backlogs. Like we really try to operate and achieve a result for our community to the best of our ability. And so what that will do is we will end up pushing people into OT, into overtime, and we'll end up getting people burnt out just to try to keep up with that backlog. So it's not just a backlog situation. It's about retention of the current staff that we have and a balanced workload as well. Because even with the low staffing and the volume that we've had, we've really tried to lean on it and work with it. But I have staff that they'll get burnt out. In certain applications, we have a timing condition. If it starts stacking up, it gets really challenging really, really quickly.
Okay. How okay, violations. So are you guys seeing any type of violations by developers? Or after the fact permitting coming in because of you guys don't have the capacity to have all of these planners in place. People are waiting around for projects. There's a backlog. So there's just like, you know what? I'm going to build. I'm going to do this project and just come back for an after the fact permit. Are you guys seeing any of that?
Leah can probably speak more to the as-built side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it happens. I think that we've made a lot of strides in this last year for, you know, for our permitting process, and it's gotten a lot better and more dependable. But yeah, I mean, we do get as builds. You know, we have people come in that just went out and built. Was it because of the process? I don't know, because we don't really get the backstory. We just get they come in, they built it, and now we have to permit it.
Okay. I would like to just give a little recommendation that you guys try to figure out a system to track that. So where I'm going with this line of questioning is this whole process right here shows the systematic problem within the state of Hawaii hiring process. So it's not necessarily your folks' department. Because like I said, chapter 76, I read the whole thing. The director has the ability to be creative and do what he needs to do anyway, without us having to come as on Building Beyond Barriers and use any EPs to push something through. I appreciate the application and all of us having this discussion because it shows the integrity that you guys really try, and that's important. But it shows that the real problem is with the hiring process, like on the state side, the county side, all of those hiring pukas all over the place. So, and it has a ripple effect across the board. So when I asked about after the fact permits, you know that the state of Hawaii State Historic Preservation Office does not give out, they do not, and you guys know this, you guys get the standard letter from Alan Downer that basically says we don't consult on after the fact permits because the damage has already been done. So it has like this huge ripple effect. And for us, me as Ontario Council Chair, we fall as consultants under SHPD. And then, like I said, I'm also sit on the Molokai Planning Commission that approves or denies building permits, yeah, in SMA zones on Molokai. So I understand, like, if county, state, if we're not all aligned and there's like a huge backlog or there's like all of these, like, look how much planners are, you guys need to fill. Not just that, I mean, looking at the other stuff, plumbing, building inspectors, the integrity of these projects that are coming through and making sure that we get the checks and balances is super important so that we can all make good decisions and that we feel good about making decisions. So for me, I know, like, take up too much time on this because in the end, I need all of these people and all these positions to be filled to make sure that for us, our historical and cultural sites, our burial sites especially, is never ever destroyed in the name of progress and development. So I make sure that all of these positions is filled so that everybody does their job and we can all live in balance. So anyway, mahalo, that's all I have to say on top of that. And thank you guys.
Thank you, Member Harada. Okay, are there any other comments before we go to a vote? Seeing none, are there any objections to the amended motion? Seeing none, the vote is unanimous. The amended motion has been approved, and we'll move on to
Thank you for the
announce.
support. Appreciate it.
Thank you, members. We have next on our agenda, we have some announcements. Agenda item number 5. And so the next meeting date will be posted to the website that I've been getting you all to memorize, holly.hawaii.gov. And in one of the BBB's functions is to inventory, track, and coordinate the progress of projects certified by and project applications to the state and counties under HRS 201H and non-201H projects with affordable housing units, inclusionary zoning, county affordable housing projects, infrastructure projects, develop brownfield sites that are developed primarily to provide housing and transit-oriented development sites. The housing team has been working diligently on developing a comprehensive database that will serve as a pivotal tool for efficiently managing and monitoring the various projects in the pipeline aimed at promoting affordable housing in our state. So we will be, that will be put online as soon as possible. And then I want to let you know that the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development and the Office of the Governor, in partnership with the Hawaii Public Housing Authority and the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation, has taken a bold step towards securing the future of housing for our state. At the heart of this initiative is a proposal submitted to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development's Pathways to Removing Obstacles to Housing. And it's a grant program, and our application is for $9.9 million to address 8 critical barriers to affordable housing production, to establish a statewide infrastructure bank, and to unlock 10,800 housing units statewide. If awarded, the project is anticipated to start in late February of 2024. And we'll be providing updates on the pipeline and the pro-housing grant initiative as we receive it. Are there any other matters that should be brought up at this time? I don't see any hands raised. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by member Uansapi.
Seconded by Cabanel.
Okay, thank you, member Mills. All right. Let's see, if there are no objections, I'll adjourn the meeting by acclamation. Do I hear any objections? I do not. It is now 3:57. Members, thank you all for your participation, your patience, your understanding, and your willingness to exchange honest views with each other. I do really appreciate that. And I want to thank you for your courtesy and kindness to me and the other members. Thank you all, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you, Mary Alice.
Seeing
Good job.
everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you.